welcome to the Esports Report. This is your host, Will Nix, and his co-host, Ashley Hodge. Welcome to the Esports Report. This is your host, Will Nix, with his awesome co-host, Ashley. Ashley, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, it is a Friday. Teachers are very tired on a Friday, but we're here.
Won't post this on a Friday. Come on now, you're going to tease these people. It'll be a Thursday. And they'll be like, nothing ruins your Friday, like finding out it's Thursday. So.
Yeah, but, you know, we are here and we're ready to talk esports with you.
With me? Okay, yes, I'm ready. No, everybody else at home, email us, talk to us, get on Discord, you'll find us. We are there. And if you're not watching us and this amazing stuff, you're missing it. One of the prettiest podcasters out there, Will Nix. No, of course, my co-host, Ashley. She's doing amazing work as always. Ashley, what are we talking about tonight?
Tonight, we're going to talk about a very important topic for not just Georgia programs, but I think any esports program trying to get off its feet. How do you fund your program?
Bum, bum, bum.
Let me go ahead and tell you, as somebody who's been around since 2017 doing this, it is not easy.
It's not easy. And no matter what a coach tells you, if they say it's easy, they're crazy. So with that, we're going to get started. We'll be right back. So funding, we're talking about how to fund a program. Ashley, you have built two different programs, which we've covered in other episodes. How would you talk about funding? What is your biggest concern? What are the bigger costs when it comes to esports?
Definitely equipment. Computers right now are very, very difficult to get because of
much less buy. Let's just say, I mean,
the chip shortage, COVID, the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is sucking up a lot of the resources that we have.
Our miners, the miners out there, yes, the Bitcoin miners, yep, for sure.
Yep.
I've joked about using our machines to do our fundraising, which would be to mine Bitcoin. So, because if I get one, I'm funding mine for quite a few years, you know.
Yeah, and then if you're expanding out past consoles, not consoles, but past PCs, consoles are another issue. You know, for a while, the Switches were very hard to get.
They were, and they were also not just hard to get, they're expensive. I mean, unlike your traditional console, it's really a single player system. So, yeah.
And then, you know, PS4s, they're not necessarily hard to get, but they're expensive for schools. And then
especially for what, a 7-year-old system at this point, if not more.
Yeah, and then, you know, Play Versus has not switched to PS5s, but good luck getting one of those. Good luck.
I have a friend. That's how you. It feels. Doesn't okay. To add some entertainment. Does it not feel a little seedy right now? And trying to get gaming equipment, to go off the topic a little bit, like, hey, can you get me one of those PS5s? Yes, I can.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's a friend of mine on Facebook. Every time I turn around, he's posting like a new PS5, and I'm like, how is he getting these? And then I don't want to know.
No, right.
I don't want to know.
You don't know what truck it came off of. You don't know. Listen, Kate, don't ask about my business. Okay, a little Godfather for you there. Just don't. No, dude, but funding your programs are hard.
It is. It's different than traditional sports in a way. And then sometimes it's not. Like football, obviously, you know, that it funds itself. You know, football has a lot of support. And they have to fundraise
too, because they have a lot of expenses, right?
But you know, some of the, I don't want to say less popular, but esports, I mean, but that's what it is. Some of the other sports, you know, we're pretty much self-funded, and it can be difficult. So I can talk a little bit about funding for my large program and also what I'm currently doing for my small program. Because just the two schools had different budgets. Like the large program, they did the eSplash tax which was very good. That's how the school got a lot more money with that tax. And so some of that came our way. But most of our equipment came from CTAE funds. We upgraded the business labs. I mentioned that in a previous episode. But we also just started getting local sponsors. And since it was a bigger city, sponsors were easier to get.
They weren't drained dry by other programs. And I said, I'm in a smaller town, and I'm not knocking any of my competitors out there for going out and getting sponsorships, but a local town can only support so much. And especially during the pandemic, those funds went bye-bye because they just didn't have the dollars to give. I think another aspect is that I think people don't understand about esports is that we are one of the, if not only, non-revenue driving programs. We don't have a gate to collect. We don't have, visitors coming to watch our games and we're charging a fee. And but we also, and if you probably remember these days where we were pitched, oh, the upfront cost is nothing. It's X compared to that. I'm going, yeah, but you're talking about what would be a ref bill, program X who supplies this, or the different costs and the different way they have billed us for students. And I would need at least $1,000 to $2,000 a year just to cover fees, much less equipment.
Yeah, that's true, because the student fee is $64 per student, and PlayVersus does have like a tiered payment plan. But if you're at a Title I school, which most of us are, that can be very expensive.
Right, and also they've changed it so many times, and it's something I want to talk with PlayVS about is why they keep changing their billing model. Because when I first started, it was direct to student. They couldn't play unless they paid their $64. And then they went into a overall licensing. Do you remember that there for a bit? It's like, here, it'll cost $2,000 if you want to do all the games. I'm using that. I'm throwing that number out there. It may have been more, it may have been less. But it was a good chunk of change.
It was X amount of money to play all the games.
Right. And so fundraising for that was very difficult. And then we added the new tier of, well, if you just want to play Rocket League, that's a free to play. And so and now we're back to the $64 if you want to add in the Nintendo games and such. And I'm looking at some difficult fundraising choices. I really have to make some choices when it comes to that.
Because then going back to equipment, now that we've expanded to all these games, it's not necessarily that you just need computers or Xbox or PS4 controllers to plug into the computers. You now need the switches, then you need the specific games, and then you need the online service. Everything just adds up. And right. I'm not knocking PlayVersus for that, but
no, that's just. But even if we didn't have PlayVersus, we would still need, if we're going to do this and do it right, we would need the equipment, we would need the games, and we would need the online service. And I don't think people who are not familiar with esports don't realize that adds up to be a good bit of money. The good news is that we're typically attracting gamers who have those features anyway.
Like a lot of my kids who played Super Smash, they had their own Switches already.
Right.
And the ones that didn't, the school had some and they just had to share.
Right.
But if none of them had a Switch, we would not have, I wouldn't have been able to have the funds to raise to get those games.
No, and I think that's where we're getting into the privilege section of esports, where it's going to be, can you afford to pay the X number of dollars? I mean, I'm glad, I'm going to say this, I'm glad we're not using any Xbox games. I really am glad that we're not featuring, a lot of that, because I can't afford to pay $65, $75 a year or more for Game Pass, when thankfully it's not a great service, but Nintendo Online's $20 a year. So
yeah,
it thankfully is something I can't afford if I have to help a kid out.
Yeah. So these are just the realities that we think people really need to understand. That we're competing. If you're in a small town, you're competing with other sports for your sponsors, which makes it difficult.
Yep.
The equipment is very hard to get right now because of the pandemic and COVID, and we can't charge like some kind of gate fee or referee fee with the program. So you're left wondering, well, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to fund all this stuff?
And we both have had mixed successes with different things. Now, we both know of several coaches, and shout out to different programs out there amongst our advisory council who run. I think one of your avenues of fundraising for your areas is a gaming tournament, right?
Yes, that is a big source of revenue for your program. At the large school, what we did is we got that approved by the board, and we held the tournaments on Saturdays. There was a reason specifically that I picked the weekend, because if it was Saturday, I did not have to follow school regulations, which means we could play any game we wanted. So I could play games that were restricted, and also we could sell food that was normally restricted. So you would have gaming tournaments, you would charge like a fee for the kids to participate. You would take a small percentage of what you made and offer that as money along with the trophy. And then you would sell like sodas and candies while people were there to watch and participate. And that's a good way to fundraise.
It is. And in larger systems, I could see that working. In a smaller system, it would be kind of difficult. I've thought of doing invitationals, and I'm sure you know what an invitational is. And if you don't, what it is, it's basically where you invite other schools to come and play and have a little bit of fun. And I know that some of our colleagues out there have invitationals and they've run them, and we want to get you on. We want you to hear about your invitational success. I know Ashley wants to hear about it because we want to do these for our schools. I think for a smaller system, what I do works for me. Does that make sense? I have to do what works for me. And it's getting some local sponsorship. I was blessed for the longest time with the Friedman family and the Fastest Dog, but I also came along and had Dave Garner and Woodland Life that paid for our jerseys this year. And all we did was Rocket League in the fall. But now in the spring, we're doing it all. And so I'm having to raise funds, and I'm doing a raffle. And where I'm raffling off one of those nice pieces of equipment that's hard to come off of, and a $250 Amazon card, because that's pretty much $250 cash. Let's just be honest about, it's not like the old days where a gift card isn't the best thing ever. Amazon is cash pretty much now. So, and I'm having that donated. And the reason I'm a big raffle proponent, and this is for coaches out there, is that you don't want overhead costs. You don't want to be out there and owe some company $1,000 for cookie dough or pizza cards or calendars, and actually name some other things. I can go on forever on product.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the students having to sell stuff, because one, other sports and clubs do it, and teachers are just on limited income, and you'll have 10 to 20 students go to like a couple of teachers like, hey, can you fund me for X, Y, and Z? So I really don't like to do that. Local sponsors is the way to go, and raffling. Like recently I've been cleaning out all my old game systems. And I can't sell them at GameStop. GameStop's not going to give me diddly squat for them. So I was actually packaging them in boxes, and I was going to raffle them off. Like I have a Wii,
nice,
Xbox 360, PS3, and it's got a ton of games with it. And I thought that would be like a great thing.
Yeah, it's amazing what classic gaming and how much money you can easily make with classic games nowadays. And we're not even talking about 20 years old. I'm talking about 10-year-old games that people are just wanting to play again. I had a family friend reach out about, hey, do you have any Wii controllers? I'm like, got a ton. Would you like some Wii controllers? I can hook you up. But yeah, that's another route to go. Is I like that. Kind of like the mystery box. What games are you going to get in this mystery box? I may do that to my son. His PS4 may disappear because he's got too many games.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, I'll let you know how that goes, because I said, I haven't done it yet, and when I'm cleaning out, and it'll put the equipment to good use. Like I know the kids would really enjoy getting like a retro game system, even though I don't consider the Wii retro.
Yeah, I'm breaking out my ColecoVision, giving that away this week. My Atari 2600 is ready. It's ready. That's retro. Okay, listen, it's it was made in the 70s. Listen up, folks. Like I was. No, it's interesting about fundraising a program. People consider esports small, but again, we're at 141 and climbing schools. And unless a revenue stream comes along, and this is not the GHSA's responsibility, it's not high school's responsibility. I really think this is going to be where Play VS and other them come along going, hey, we're going to do X for you in exchange for the number of programs you've got involved, so we can offset our costs some. Because if not, I think it's going to price out some schools. I really do. Especially, I had to say, I'll give Play VS credit. When we got away from PCs has helped, because yes, we have consoles. Yes, they change, but the kids have them. Gaming PCs, man. I wish I had known 2 years, 3 years ago that they were going to head more into the console side of things. I'd have raised more money. I could have saved some money then.
Yeah, for a while, we were just working with the information we had, and it was, we're only going to do like
PCs.
PC games.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then,
there was a ban on. I mean, there was a ban on consoles. You couldn't play on them. And I was mad at the time. I was like, had Rocket Leaguers who played on the Xbox. I'm like, they can play it just as well. Cross over and play. I mean, but I understand.
Yep. So having the consoles has worked. Another thing about fundraising, and I did this at my large school, I have not done this at the smaller school yet, is getting the parents involved and making a booster club.
Yes, it does help. The problem, and again, I'm not all negative Nancy, but the issue with booster clubs is that they're there to pump money out of the community, and in a smaller system, there's so many booster clubs to compete with. So what I've done is I've partnered up with other organizations, and we've done joint fundraisers. So that way we have more kids selling the same stuff, but I have more. When I set like a 10 ticket minimum on the raffles, I've got, instead of 50 kids, I've got 150 kids. So we're selling 1,500 tickets instead of just 1,000 tickets we'd have sold. So that's helped out. It's partnering up, and yes, you split some money a little bit, but it definitely helps out a lot.
And I will say at the smaller school, it's still kind of a struggle to kind of figure out what to do. I've only been at the small school, I guess, going on 2 years, well, a year and a half, almost 2 years. And I'm still adjusting to working with a smaller program. So, I mean, I do charge my students a fee.
Right. Player fees. Yeah. Player fees are a necessity at this point. And, Play VS it's around $64. But if you throw in jerseys, if you want in food, snack, I mean, everything that you're going to do it, I don't see it being outside the realm of being horrible, of saying $100 a year to play, $100 a season. And I think that's another issue that needs to be addressed, is the multiple seasons. That's where the cost goes up. And that's a later discussion. That's a later discussion.
I was going to say, I charge my students $30 per kid each season when it's $64. Now, does that hurt the program some because I'm not charging the full amount? Yes, but I'm trying to do what's best for the community that I'm in, because $30 might be a lot to a couple of kids.
No, I'm just throwing numbers out there. Since we only had Rocket League in the fall, we didn't have an upfront go. We didn't have a player fee. Being that we're doing the Nintendo, we're going to try to offset it to where it's a little more reasonable. If I can get it to about 50, then that way I can still afford jerseys. It's not the full fee. And I think also that I can probably get PlayVS to help out a little bit with that. And yeah, because they'll rate it. They'll help you out a little, but they still have to make their money too. Some would argue, and I would too, where's that money go? But that's another episode. So
I will also say, applying for grants. There are a ton of, not necessarily esports grants, but just like technology improvement grants. And esports kind of falls under that. So, you could go the grant route. And
I got the Georgia Rural Equalization Grant.
And do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Shout out to Christy Hobgood. She's one of my parents, and she's one of my colleagues. She has taught with me for, I think, 15 years now. And she had saw a tweet from them, just simply a tweet about this grant. And we applied, and it bought 4 brand new gaming PCs. So yeah. And it was there because our goal is very valid. We're trying to increase the amount of girls playing. And so, and increase diversity at our school playing the games. And we've almost 300% have done so. And I'm going to apply again. I'm going to apply until they all they can do is say no. All they said, Christy wrote the grant. We got the money, and it has helped a great deal. And good news is here's folks, is that the economy is rolling. There's money out there. It's just finding it. It really is. It's just finding it right now.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking for sponsors for this program. Trust us, because we want to offset our costs. We enjoy doing this, but we like to do this for a little more free. So.
Yeah, like just finding sponsors for anything is a challenge. Like, we've been trying to find sponsors for this podcast, and I've put out some feelers. We'll see.
We're working there. We're getting there, and I think when we get some of our interviews done, and those people come along, and I can't wait to get coaches and players from all over the nation. I really can't. And we're going to be having some upcoming features on other things, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, that's fundraising. If you have any tips, please email us. Please message us. Let us know, because we're just trying to help other coaches out there, because every day there's a coach starting an esports program, and it is not easy. So that's it for fundraising. We'll be back after the break. Just a sec.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Esports Report. This is our wrap up. I think we're going to talk about some upcoming changes that we've seen with Play Versus, and our seasons are actually getting really close to starting. So I'm doing signups next week.
I've been doing signups since they announced new games. I'm excited. Mario Kart. I have mixed feelings.
Yeah, I don't really know. I asked my students about Mario Kart, and a lot of them are they seem okay with it, but I think I have a lot more Smash players this season.
Yeah, Smash, Mario Kart, and I think it's good. We're gonna get more girls, and that's always a good thing. And it's not because only girls play Mario Kart; it's just more girls play Mario Kart than they do some of the other games that we have.
I think it's just a less intimidating game. Like, I did have a girl who had never played League sign up to play League, and she's like, I can't. Right. This is a lot. And I'm like, well, why don't you try Smash? And she's like, I'm not really into fighting games. And then they announced Mario Kart, and they're like, oh, okay, I can.
It's on.
I can do racing. I can do the Mario Kart.
I got the coolest email about Mario Kart, and I would read it, but confidentiality and stuff. But I had a young lady email me, and she broke it down to me about how good she was at Mario Kart. And it wasn't like talking smack. It was like, I have competed in regional tournaments. I've competed on national tournaments. I'm going, I got a ringer. Yeah, I got a ringer.
Man, right. Are you telling me that you're also going to win a Mario Kart State Championship on top of the Rocket League?
We do have something about things that drive, okay? Pickens County. I'm hoping. Hey, look, here's the thing though. It's a 4-team tournament. So it's not like it's going to be, one kid can carry you, but if she's as good as she says she is, rings.
Well, listen, this is going to be the season for where I work. I almost said the name, but for where I work, because we are coming in hot with that Super Smash team. I got like an A-list team this year.
My Super Smash team's looking pretty good too, and it's good to see something that you just can't predict who's going to be good at it. Now, at Rocket League, if you research, you can find out who's going to be good at Rocket League. League of Legends, easily look up who's going to be league. You don't know until they show up who's good at Smash Brothers, who's good at Mario Kart, Splatoon, FIFA, Madden. There's not a rank out there for these guys that easy to look up is easy. You know what I'm saying? Well,
and
you pull up, yeah.
I will say, my super awesome Super Smash team, they're my team from last year. I don't want my team from last year to feel bad. They're really good. So I'm just really excited, and they're excited. Like, I'm always happy to see the kids excited, because it just makes everything that we do worth it. Like, it makes the aggravation of going through all the admin stuff, setting the equipment up.
Right. Oh gosh, the TVs. If I have to move more TVs, I move so many TVs, and it sounds like a small problem, but this is what's funny about esports, and I want to go off on this tangent for just a second, is that it's going to end up taking so much more space than we have. Because if they keep adding these games, I'm out of room. And my school's been really cool about finding me places to play. And, it was easy to do PCs in a room. That's easy. But console games, it's not so easy. It's not that easy to space them out and give them, because it's not fair for them to play on a monitor the size of a standard computer monitor. It's not the same with them playing on their big TV at home.
And then sometimes they will bring their big TV, and you're like, I don't know where to set this up.
I don't know where to put that. And you're bringing, what do you want me to do with the 70-inch monstrosity while I'm, during the day? What do you? Okay, I'm putting the game on behind me. I'm going here. Y'all go ahead. And, it's crazy. It is crazy. But I'm excited.
You're scared that something's going to happen to it during the day while it's on your watch, and you're just like, oh my God.
I have a section dedicated to putting the switches up and their controllers, because my guys bring their controllers in, because that's just, they want to play with what they want to play with. And I'm going, guys, y'all can leave the TVs at home. They're not happening, because we had that issue with gaming PCs. I was like, guys, you're killing me. You're killing me here. This is a lot of equipment and a lot of money that I am not responsible for. And the other big change is the way they're doing scheduling this year. Now, shout out to Play VS finally letting us put in our spring breaks, designated week, no matches. Finally, 4 years later.
If you have not been a coach trying to schedule and reschedule matches during spring break, is a nightmare, folks. And they also are getting away from the hybrid Swiss model, which I'm going to be interesting to see how that works. We're going to do just the Swiss model. I'll need more breakdown on that. We can have an episode, Swiss versus hybrid Swiss. No, so we change it every year. I don't think the
every season
has been consistent. When we've done it. So
no, and you know what's funny is that we still haven't brought up Smite. Because no one plays. And you good Smite players out there, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, bro. no love on the esports report. So, Ashley, what did we cover? We have some interesting interviews and stuff coming up, don't we?
Yeah. Let me think. Next week we have some representatives from Play Versus, which we mentioned in a previous episode. We're awesome. Super excited about that. Still working on the CEO Play Versus interview. Good. And we have a company, a game and esports company from Texas, we're also doing next week.
Okay.
And then we actually got an email at the Esports report to be on a podcast, right?
Yes. No, we got one joining us. They're coming along. They're coming along to. It's the head of the Georgia Commission of Scholastic Esports, I believe, is the name, and he reached out and wants to be on our show. And we want to do that. We want to show that there are other organizations out there that are trying to help spread the good word that is esports to all the schools. So anything that gets players involved, stuff like that. I know we're gonna have some player interviews and some coaches interviews coming up too. And guys, all it takes is an email. Hey, I'd like you to be our featured program. We'd love to feature you. I'm going to be reaching out to some friends that I've competed against, lost against, beaten, and just get out here and talk. Because I know once I get you on the air, you're like me. You can't stop. We like talking about our programs. We're proud of it. There's nothing wrong with being an esports coach. There's nothing wrong with being an esports coach. There's a lot right with being an esports coach.
And we're passionate about it, not just for ourselves, but for our students. So, if you have some awesome students or awesome stories that you want to share, we're here for you. That's the whole point of what we're doing. Bring awareness, educate, and entertain.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the Esports Report. This is your host, Will Nix, and his awesome co-host, Ashley Hodge. Say bye, Ashley.
Bye.
See ya, folks.